Hi, everybody. We're so excited to have you here and listening to our recorded video for our week 5 of CAST Prep. Can't believe we've already gone into week 5. We're just blazing a trail into second semester, and we're really grateful for your support in getting your scholars prepared for our assessment season. So we're going to be talking about strategies for math and strategies for the CAST portion of the CAST test or CAST assessment. The CAST is actually the science portion of the test, which 5th, 8th, and 11th, or any high schooler that's on their last year of science will take. Our agenda today will be to review the mission and vision, our values. We'll have a little bit of an icebreaker. We'll talk about planning for the math assessment as well as the CAST assessment. And then we'll have a short little exit ticket that is just valuable feedback for us from you so we know what you most need us to cover during this season of preparation. Our mission and vision is to inspire and develop innovative, creative, self-directed learners, one scholar at a time. Our vision is to create a collaborative virtual learning community where we inspire scholars to appreciate the ways in which arts and sciences nurture curiosity for lifelong learning and prepare scholars to take responsibility for their future success. Our values wrap up all of the following into one beautiful little package. So we have achievement, which all of us are working together to help you engage in and take charge of your learning. Respect is being respectful in all interactions with whoever you interact with, whether it's fellow scholars, your learning coach, any of the faculty and staff here at Compass, or just around you. Teamwork is about working cooperatively with everybody that's involved in your education. Teamwork makes the dream work. Integrity is behaving with strong ethical principles, values, and academic honesty. So integrity means being truthful. It means doing the right thing, no matter how much it might be uncomfortable. There's a lot of things that go into integrity, and it wraps up all the things above it: teamwork, respect, achievement. Finally, there's communication. So integrity also works its way, obviously, into communication. You want to be frequently and proactively communicating with everybody that's involved in your education. If you're frequently and proactively communicating, then you have the best chance at having achievement and being able to take charge of your learning. So, what we'd like you to think about as you prepare to come for our live session on Friday is how confident you feel about CASP testing at this point. So, this is week 5. We've had 4 weeks of reviewing and talking about the technology pieces and what to expect in the actual test itself. So, we really want to hear, and feel free to put this on that exit ticket as well, how confident you're feeling or not confident about the CAS assessment season. So obviously we don't have a chat because this is pre-recorded, but we'd really love for you to come ready on Friday with an answer to this. And any answer is not a wrong answer. So just come on Friday ready to let us know what you're still needing to feel confident about and what you're feeling more at peace about. So part of our planning today is to talk about the math portion of the CAASPP assessment. The math, just like the ELA, consists of 2 parts: the computer adaptive test and the performance task. During the math assessment, you want to be thinking critically. So that means reading the questions, looking for the really important information, going back and looking through each of the answers that they might be providing if it's multiple choice, and then rereading your questions, all those little tools that will help you think critically when you're working your way through each of the problems that you're presented with. If it's a question that asks you to support your answer, you want to make sure that you're using evidence. So that might be showing your steps. It might be pulling something from information that's provided to you in the question. Make sure that you're providing that evidence along with your answers if it's appropriate. And again, as we've been kind of pounding out the last couple of weeks, is read each question carefully. You're probably rolling your eyes at us right now, but it's really important. And again, I'm going to repeat that little tip. Read each question carefully, go through and read all the answer options, then go back and read the question. If you were in my live session, I'd say, why do we do that? And hopefully one of you would pop your hand up and you'd say, well, if I go back and I read all the answer options and I go back and read the question, one of the answer options might help me connect to something that's in the question and I'll know immediately what the answer is. A lot of times, if you do it that way, the hint is there and you just didn't see it the first time. So, assessment tips. As we just talked about reading each question carefully, um, things that you want to look for when you're reading those questions are possible highlights. Um, they might ask you to highlight specific information. So that's where you might even use some of your tools like the strike through tool or the highlighter tool. You want to look for the information they ask you to highlight or solve. Solve is telling you you've got to work a problem. You've got to solve something. Correct, look for the correct answer. They might even say something like the most correct answer. Those are always a little tricky because maybe there's a little truth in each answer, but there's one that's the most correct. Complete, write, create, show, select, drag, choose, explain, match, describe, support. All of these are action words that are giving you an indication of what they're expecting you to do when you're answering your questions. So I'm going to have Miss Angelo take it away with
All
our
right.
mission.
Well, actually, go back one more slide really quick. I wanted to add a little bit more about that. And I hope you all at home are enjoying this learning as you go. The more you know, the more you'll show. And we want you to show all that you know on that CAASPP assessment. So as you're going through either the ELA or the math or the science assessment, we want you to be looking for these action words. These action words actually help you and tell you what you should be doing. So maybe you're coming across some of those words like analyze, right? And so maybe circle it or write it down on your scratch piece of paper. So as you are solving that problem, you know, oh, I'm going to have to analyze this. So maybe I'm going to have to break the question apart. Maybe I'm going to have to describe or define certain things as I go. Or if it says argue, oh, okay, I'm going to have to defend my position and provide reasons to support my position. Or apply what you know into some concrete situation and show how you might solve a problem. That might be a little bit more in the science assessment. So let's jump on into that. I think the next slide was the science assessment, perhaps. Let's see. Oh, it's math. All right, so the math one right now. So we're going to have to look through some of these math problems and remember our action words, analyze and apply, compare and contrast. So circle those words, write them down, and it's going to definitely help you through these assessments. So here's the math one here, the performance task. And the performance task is going to ask or require students to integrate skills across multiple domains, clusters, and standards of the Common Core state standards to demonstrate their ability to use their math knowledge to solve real world problems. So this is that, again, that second portion of that assessment. You're going to be answering a set of questions centered on a common topic or a real world problem. So there's going to be a reading section and questions that go along with that. The types of questions you're going to see will depend on the grade level that you're at. But in each of them, we really want you to show your depth of understanding. So really get into those details, show that you've read and researched and applied what you've learned into that second section of the performance task. Don't forget to add that relevant evidence. It's usually going to ask you to find some evidence through the reading, so don't forget to apply that and show that. Right, using those action words, apply that, show that, integrate those skills throughout all of your writing in the performance task. Okay. All right, so just a few bullet points here on our screen. Make sure that you are reviewing those math terms, reviewing and double checking your calculations. Use that scratch paper and also use the tools that you'll have, those universal tools that we've talked about in previous sessions, like the calculator and the strike through tool, and watching for those keywords. So use all the tools that you have available. They're there to help. So in the slide deck that we'll have linked down below this video will be other links to resources such as common math terms and symbols. Okay, so there will be more helpful links down below. How about we take a look at some sample math questions? I'm going to share my screen. And as I share my screen, we're just going to look at what this math assessment is going to look like. And yeah, definitely come on Friday as well. And we can take a look and dive deeper into some of these questions that you might see. This is going to be what the performance task of the math assessment might look like for you. All right, so let me go into the second section here. Okay, so it might look something like this on the left-hand side. Actually, I'll give you all a second to maybe have any ahas or wows or wonders. A lot on your screen right now. Do you spy the calculator? Do you spy the notes tab? Zoom in and zoom out functions? Can you find the reading section on the left? And notice how it can scroll up and down. And you can also expand using those arrows so that you can focus on this section here. You might also see, let's see, the arrows to move it back and the questions on the right. There's also the box to enter in your answers. And you can use your mouse to click the numbers on the calculator. And if you make a mistake, you can use the back arrow to delete. You can use some of the other functions that your calculator might have available to you, such as the fraction tool. If it doesn't always, work the first time, make sure you're really clicking on them, right? So sometimes you might have a really gentle method of using your keyboard or your mouse. And if it doesn't show up the first time, try it again, click it again. So now I have a few things going on here with 3 boxes and you're like, uh-oh, it's okay. You can always reverse back to your previous step or delete all entirely and try again. All right, so that was our calculator. And notice there are more questions as you scroll. You can't exactly go to the next question, in fact, until you answer all questions. So you will have other charts, for example, like this one, looking at the area, another calculator available. Here's a fill in the blank. So other types of questions you might see on the performance task in the math section. And another fill in the blank as you're answering. And then here at the bottom, you'll also have a writing portion usually in the performance task. And so here it's asking us to support our answer. So this could be an argumentative, argue your case, what is some of the evidence in the reading to help you support your answer. And I'm just scrolling down and I'm noticing there's also another writing portion here. So you might spend a lot of time just on one screen, making sure that you're answering each question. Don't feel rushed to go to the next question on these. Spend your time on each question. And let's see, what else can I say about these? So yeah, spending your time on each one, making sure you're reading each question carefully, and all of those tools to help you relax and breathe. Don't forget those tools that we shared last week as well. All right, so let's see. I can probably share my screen again, or do you want to share that slide with the slide number 12? All right, there we go. So the mission planning. Now let's talk a little bit about the CAASPP assessment. So CAASPP, California Adaptive Science, I believe it's, so we have the fixed domain section. So this is the one assessment that is not adaptive. So we're calling this now the fixed domain and the PT for performance task. The fixed domain is very similar to the CAT for the ELA or the math assessment, except for the fact that it's not adaptive. But that's really the only reason. The setup is pretty much the same. And as you take those practice assessments, you can get in there and really see what it looks like. So you'll have just one login for the CAASPP, and you'll have all those sections in one login. So you'll just log in once, but the average assessment time is generally about the same. Since it's not timed, it's still just an average, about 2 hours for the CAASPP. So make sure you're planning your time accordingly to complete this assessment as well. Some of these questions might be multiple choice or short responses. Others might require you to write a long essay response. But all in all, the purpose of the CAASPP is the same purpose for the ELA and the math, and that is to assess your knowledge and skills in science and to foster science education at every grade level. You're not taking this at every grade level though, you're taking it at specific grade levels. So we can share more of that information again, or you can look back. We had a previous session about that. But in addition, the CAASPP encourages students to build the knowledge of the skills needed for college and careers. So we do have the CAASPP assessment as well in high school. So as you're assessing the science skills in high school, you are applying that knowledge and those skills needed for college and careers. So show us what you know, right? All right, so it's going to consist of some standalone questions as well as 2 or 3 performance tasks. And in those performance tasks, it's very similar to the screen that I previously shared with the math, where it might require you to solve a series of related questions in regards to a reading. All right,
And
go ahead.
go ahead. No, you're fine.
Go ahead to the next slide. We wanted to kind of close it out with a few links and a video as well. So here are a few links, and when you're ready, you can play the video.
I was just going to interject and say that the CAASPP actually it's California Science Test. So it's always a little bit tricky because it feels like it should say adaptive, but it's actually just California CA and then Science Test. So I always have to remind myself of that too.
California Science Test and the Next Generation Science Standards.
Just want to double check. Can you hear the sound?
I can, yes.
Okay.
California is well on its way to building a world-class science education system that will prepare students to succeed in the global economy. With the help of California science teachers, we developed the California Science Test, or CAASPP. This assessment was designed not only to measure student performance in science, but also to encourage and reinforce the innovative ways science is being taught in classrooms throughout the state. The CAASPP is based on the California Next Generation Science Standards, also called California NGSS, which were adopted by the State Board of Education in 2013. Our teachers, scientists, college professors, and business and industry leaders all took part in helping to write the standards. The California NGSS calls for students with a deep understanding of core scientific ideas and concepts, using skills like investigation, problem solving, communication, and collaboration. The standards embrace young people's innate curiosity by introducing science at an earlier age, encouraging them to ask lots of questions and emphasizing hands-on investigation and discovery. This approach is more engaging and in line with what we know about how students learn best.
Hi, my name is Brian Ellis. I'm a physics teacher at Natomas Charter School in Sacramento. With the new standards coming, with NGSS, with new assessments, I'm really excited because I feel like all of the emphasis that I place on doing science and the process of science and on analyzing data and interpreting data and drawing conclusions, all of that is going to be rewarded on the new assessments and because the new standards place such an emphasis on science practices alongside science concepts.
The standards combine science and engineering practices to help students understand how science works in the natural world. The California NGSS integrates three-dimensional learning to help students discover how and why certain phenomena occur.
And I'm very excited with the shift to the three-dimensional learning that NGSS brings us. I really think it connects the students to the beauty of the natural world and science in general. It's a real honor to be a part of the process and bringing these standards to California students and educators. And I really believe that a great science education benefits both the individual student and their community.
The three-dimensional learning concepts in the California NGSS are made up of three distinct but equally important components: disciplinary core ideas, science and engineering practices, and cross-cutting concepts. Disciplinary core ideas explain why certain phenomena occur. Science and engineering practices give students tools to further explore and explain certain phenomena by gathering and analyzing data to find patterns or draw conclusions. Cross-cutting concepts help students make connections across the sciences and other disciplines. The California Science Test supports the hands-on teaching that science teachers are doing in the classroom as they help students to become college and career ready. The CAASPP also promotes improvements to teaching and learning, encourages science instruction in every grade, not just tested grades, measures the range and depth of the California NGSS, provides high-quality questions that reflect the standards, and minimizes testing time and costs while making the test accessible for all students. The CAASPP takes an average of 2 hours and is administered to students in grades 5 and 8 and once in high school. Like California's other online statewide assessments, the CAASPP is a computer-based test, and each test is made up of both high-quality questions and performance tasks. Each question in the CAASPP incorporates at least 2 of the 3 dimensions of the California NGSS. As with any California state assessment, we will continue to take the time and care needed to make sure the CAASPP is valid, fair, and reliable. Students take the CAASPP in the spring in grades 5 and 8, and once in grade 10, 11, or 12. Parents and guardians will then receive a student score report, a summary of test results that shows school districts, county, and state levels will also be provided to educators to help inform teaching and learning. You can become familiar with this test through the CAASPP training and practice tests, which you will find through the online practice and training tests portal on CAASPP.org. For more information, please visit www.caaspp.org. Special thanks to Natomas Charter School.
All right, so that video was a really great summary of some of the things we'd already mentioned. So just different way of hearing it, right? So sometimes we have to hear it multiple times before we, have it stick. So that video link is on the sheet as well as the video. You can play that back as many times as you need and play it at any speed, right? You can speed it up or slow it down. So before we leave here, any questions that you might have? Maybe you can write those down and know that we'll be there to answer those questions on Friday. And then our exit ticket is available as well on that last slide. So you can click on that link. If you have questions, you can also put it in the form and we can review those and be there to answer those questions as well.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Thank you. Bye.